The 10 worst Shark Tank pitches ever. Number 10. The Sticky Note Holder. The Sticky Note Holder was created by Mary Simonson. Mary knew sticky notes would get lost and were unorganized when attached to a computer, so she created a product that would attach to the side of the computer so that sticky notes would stay there. Mary entered the tank seeing $100,000 for 20%. The sharks and most viewers have given Mary negative feedback because of the argument that Mary is solving a problem that doesn't exist. Number 9. The No-Fly Cone. Bruce walked out into the shark tank with the dog on his leash. He introduced himself and his dog Biscuit to the sharks. He let them know that he was seeking $25,000 in exchange for 15% equity stake in his company. The company is called No-Fly Cone. He told the sharks that the No-Fly Cone is a cone-shaped non-toxic fly trap. It catches them on the inside of the trap so you don't even have to see the fly carcasses. Since not getting a deal on Shark Tank, Bruce tried to make it on his own. According to the Facebook page, Bruce found a new distributor for the No-Fly Cone. Soon after that, the Facebook page stopped uploading and their entire website was shut down. Number 8. Squirrel Boss. Michael J. DeSanti went out on stage and greeted the sharks. There was a moment of awkward silence before he introduced himself, and he told them he was seeking $130,000 in exchange for 40% of the business. He said that he was selling the Squirrel Boss, which is a bird feeder that is supposed to repel squirrels. The seemingly simple statement had the sharks laughing. The Squirrel Boss delivers a harmless static shock to the squirrels when the owner presses a button on the remote. The sharks cracked up at this. After Michael refused to leave after getting no deal, Kevin told Michael to put his hand on the Squirrel Boss and give the remote to him so he could get him to move real quick. Number 7. Throx. Edward Heaven, screenplay writer and inventor of the Throx, states that he's looking for an investment of $50,000 in exchange for a 15% stake in Throx. One by one, the sharks told him that they were not interested, because they didn't see any potential in the product. At the end interview, Edwin states that he finds it disappointing that the sharks saw Throx as more of a novelty product than a serious product. Number 6. Trackdays. James LaVitola and Brian Pitt walked out into the Shark Tank with an attractive brunette trailing behind them, holding a large beach umbrella. There was a giant movie poster on the stage, and the woman went up to it, holding the umbrella over the head of the mannequin in a racing outfit. On the poster, there were the names of all the sharks under executive producer. The pair told the sharks that they were seeking $5 million in exchange for a 30% equity in the production. But they had no chance. The product was too insecure for the sharks, and James and Brian had to leave with no deal. Number 5. The Sullivan Generator. Mark Sullivan introduces himself to the sharks as an inventor who has already made more than 1,000 inventions. He uses this as a tactic to soften the sharks up before giving the asking price of $1 million in exchange for a 10% stake in the Sullivan Generator. Then he jumps right in to explain that what he has is an electric generator that harvests energy from the Earth's natural rotation. After a long and detailed explanation, the sharks believe that the technology is very interesting but not worth the risk, so Mark has to leave without any money. Number 4. Cougar Energy. Custer enters the Shark Tank seeking a $150,000 investment in exchange for a 30% stake in Cougar Limited. Immediately after that, Custer dives into the explanation of what a cougar is. She is a sexy, mature, and older woman, and the term cougar itself has become a huge social movement. Because the sharks being convinced that women aren't going to flock after this product or at best buy it as a gag gift, no one would support the brand, and Custer was out of a deal. Number 3. Waken Baken. Maddie Solon, a fairly recent college graduate, is the inventor of Waken Baken. Albeit the invention itself is very strange, the concept itself actually isn't half bad. It was while attending an introductory electronics class in college when Salon thought up the idea of creating an alarm clock that was slightly less offensive than your traditional buzzing alarm clock. Instead, he decided to invent something that might actually encourage those grouchy morning people out of bed. What he ended up making was an alarm clock that serves you a nice morning treat instead of blaring that loathed buzzing sound right in your ears. Solon enters the Shark Tank and asks the shark for a $40,000 investment in exchange for 20% of his company. But without any support of the sharks, because of the high risks of the product, he left without the money he expected. Number 2. RoloDoc. Albert and Richard Amini are two brothers and are actually a physician duo, and their company is RoloDoc. They were on Shark Tank looking for $50,000 in exchange for 20% of their company. Over the years of experience, they've realized that communication in medicine is not actually like 21st century technology. They're still using pagers to communicate with each other. RoloDoc allows for secure email between patients, physicians, and other medical professionals, allowing a sort of mobile instant messaging between healthcare and patients. But none of the sharks were going to invest, and Robert and Albert Amini leave Shark Tank without an investment in RoloDoc. And coming in at number one, Ionic Ear. The Ionic Ear was the thought of Darren Johnson as an alternative to regular Bluetooth devices. It would require surgery near the ear, but would avoid the hassles one faces with regular devices, such as the devices falling out or losing them. Darren did not appear to actually test this idea on anyone, and hence did not have any sales before coming on the show. Nevertheless, the producers gave him a chance to pitch his idea to the Sharks on the very first episode. Darren was seeking $1 million for a 15% stake in the company. He explained the issue with traditional Bluetooth and headsets because they constantly fall off, and his solution of implanting a device. After a pretty short discussion with Kevin O'Leary, he closed the pitch by saying he felt Darren was so far ahead of his time, and Damon was happy he wouldn't be alive if this product ever actually exists. And that was the end for Darren's product.